What is going on, guys? Welcome to GregglesTV Daily Rewind, episode 34. This is where we go back the previous week and put all of my tech news stories into one single video in case you missed it, or you just want to rewatch it really easily. It's going to be here. And there was so much Galaxy S10 price leaks with the 5G version and the regular light versions and plus versions and just regular S10 versions. There's info on the Android Pie Beta with some of the Galaxy Note 8s, S8s, S9, S9 Plus, all of those phones. There's seriously so much Samsung news mostly, but there is other news as well. So stick with it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Let's jump right into the news. The first story of the day is a tweet put out by Ice Universe, who is a leaker of all sorts, especially with Samsung, and he put out a tweet just covering up some misunderstandings about the Galaxy S10. And his tweet says, to correct two misunderstandings. Number one, Galaxy S10 is also 3 cameras on the back, not 2 cameras. The evidence is their protective shell. S10 and S10 Plus have the same size camera area. The big difference with the S10 and the S10 Plus is you're going to get 2 cameras on the front with the S Plus, 1 on the front with the S10, but otherwise on the back you're still getting 3 cameras. So that way, if you want 3 cameras on the back, you can still get your S10. Number 2 says the S10 series will not use LPDDR5 RAM, which is basically faster RAM than you'll get with DDR4, which is in current phones. Other than that, it says also UDS 3.0 is going to be the storage. It's not going to be in the S10 line of phones, so you won't get the ultimate fastest storage that's out right now. The evidence is that the Antutu memory score is very ordinary result. And the last story of the day is price and release dates for not only the Galaxy S10 line of phones, but also the S10 5G variant. So let's go into that. These are rumors, these aren't official, but they are coming from a report. First, let's talk about the non-5G models of this phone. So first off, it's saying that this phone should probably be released on March 8th, and that's what we've been talking about for a while, which is only a little over a month right now before it would be released, a month and a half about that. And it says that the price for the entry-level Galaxy S10 Lite, or whatever they end up calling it, will be around $800. And that's a pretty decent price. But again, it's the Lite version. And then it says that the S10 Plus variant will be as high as $1,430, which I think is much too expensive for a phone. I think a lot of people will want the S10 Plus, but that's very, very expensive. It's a little too expensive if you ask me. Now, within this report, it doesn't mention the actual price of the regular S10 line of phone. If I had to guess, I would probably guess it somewhere in the middle or closer to the S10 Plus. So I'd guess it'd probably be $1,100 or $1,200 for that S10 phone. As for the 5G phone, also known as, this is going to be the rumored name, Galaxy S10X, you're looking at over 10 gigabytes of RAM for this phone, which is more than any other Galaxy phone that we've seen so far. So far, we've seen 8 gigabytes in the Galaxy Note 9. This is saying it's going to have 10 gigs with up to 1 terabyte of internal storage. That's a whole hell of a lot of storage for sure. And it's going to be obviously having 5G support. The rumored release date for this is March 29th, so only a few weeks after the non-5G models would come out, which would be March 8th. You're looking at 21 days later, 3 weeks to the day, you'd say, that the 5G variant would come out, and the cost would be $1,600. So only $200 more than the S10 Plus, and it could potentially, I guess at that point, have a little bit more RAM, more storage, so maybe it's worth it for an extra, $100, $200 to get the 5G variant, or at least wait a little bit for it. Now, the takeaways from this are that those phones are extremely expensive. It is the 10th anniversary of the phone. It's a different look to the phone in terms of it having like a little dot on the front, rather than having, any bezels really, or any cutouts for the cameras in terms of like notches. So it is a different design. It's got more cameras on the back than any other high-end Galaxy devices ever had. It's got more cameras potentially on the front than any other Galaxy high-end device has had as well. The prices are very, very high. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't sell well, just based off price. They're extremely expensive, at least based off this report. Let's get into the news. The first story of the day is a official comparison of benchmarks of the new Snapdragon 855 processor versus some phones that had the Snapdragon 845 processor and 835 processor. Let's see the big differences thus far. Now, with any upgraded processor, you should always see improvements, and you can definitely see the improvements with the Snapdragon 855, the top one on the left here. This is the reference point. It's not in an official phone, as you can see some of the other ones. But basically with the Snapdragon 845, people are getting scores around 2,400 on the Geekbench for single core score. And you can see that on the 835, whereas it's on the Pixel 2 XL and OnePlus 5T, it was getting out 1900. So it's increased just off the reference point, almost over 1,000 points for the Geekbench single core score. When you go to the multi-core score, you get 11,000 versus about 9,000 on last generation's processor, and then 6,000 on the generation before that. So again, big improvements thus far. And then you can just looking, side left to right and then down, just improvements across the board, significant improvements. So the Snapdragon 855 is looking like a beautiful performing processor thus far versus the last couple of generations. And what that means for you is a better performing phone, have it be with gaming, day-to-day operations. Maybe you video edit on there, it's going to perform better doing that kind of stuff. Just using the phone overall, you're going to get much better performance and probably even less and less lag as time goes on. As phones get older, sometimes Android phones slow down a little bit. As time gets older, this should definitely help with that. Next up, we talked about this a few weeks ago about the Galaxy Note 8 getting the Android 9 Pie beta build, and it is officially out thus far, only in 3 countries. Those countries being South Korea, UK, and India. And the update itself is about 1.8 gigabytes, so it's a pretty big beta build. So one of the cool things that it comes with, as you can see right here, is it includes night mode scheduling option, meaning it will turn your phone dark during certain hours of the day that you see fit. I like that. I don't have that currently on my phone, my Galaxy Note 9, but this is a great feature to have, so it makes it a little bit easier for you to read your phone as the day goes on. And the last story of the day is about the Galaxy Note 9 stable build, basically the official version, not the beta version of the Pi update. Has officially come out in Australia and South Korea. So if you live in one of those 2 countries, you can download the official build right now for your Galaxy Note 9 and be all stable. Let's get into the news. If you are a Verizon Unlimited customer of their above unlimited plans, you now get Apple Music for free. Apple Music is their Spotify competitor where you can stream basically any song you want. It usually costs $10 per month, but again, it's included in this these 2 plans right here, so you get free music, which is always nice to see. You might not be a fan of Apple products, but if you can get free music, why not use it? And you get all the same things you would get if you subscribe to it by paying, where you can play music over LTE, over Wi-Fi, you can download songs, all that stuff. And again, it's completely free, and it starts January 17th. Next up, the worldwide rollout of the Galaxy S9 Android Pie, also known as Samsung One UI update, is rolling out right now. So if you have one of those phones, S9, S9 Plus, go into your updates and check to see if you have it thus far. If you don't, especially if you're here in America, just because I'm from here and I know how the carriers work, you're probably gonna have to wait. And the reason is because of the carriers, they need to add their own crap onto it so that they can get the update ready for you. So you still might not be able to get it, but I would guess in the next few weeks, months, you'll definitely be able to get it if you're here in America on one of the carrier plans. But regardless, if you have downloaded this, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about it so far as well. Again, that's for Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. Also rolling out right now is the beta version of the Samsung One UI update for Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus. It already started rolling out for Note 8, but it's now rolling out in India for the S8 and the S8 Plus, and then obviously more countries will come along, UK, Korea, and then probably America as well. But right now, that is rolling out right now, so if you're in one of those countries, check for the update on that. And actually, you have to join the beta by either going into the Samsung Plus app or the Samsung Members app, depending upon where you live, and then downloading that update and getting it installed on your phone. And the last story of the day is sure to probably disappoint some, especially with the price of these Galaxy S10 devices going through the roof, and that is that fast charging is going to remain the same speed most likely. So the Galaxy S10 passed through China's 3C certification website, and it shows that it has the same charging specifications that it has since the Galaxy Note 4. So it hasn't looked like it's changed, meaning that the charging specs include the standard 5 volts, 2 amp output, and 9 volts and 1.67 amp output for fast charging. Now, it is kind of disappointing and it's kind of not. At the same time, the phone charges really fast. Like, for instance, I threw mine on the charger the other day and I had like, I don't know, 5%, 6%. Before I know it, there was 85% charging after, I don't know, 45 minutes or something like that. So it still charges really, really fast. It's just not going to be the ultimate fastest that you can get right now, Quick Charge 4.0, or maybe their own proprietary technology. So it kind of sucks in that way, especially with the prices going through the roof. But in the end, is it that big a deal? That's your question of the day. Let's get into the news. So I put out a video this morning, earlier today, and it showed that Galaxy S10 will not work with screen protectors. So if you want to put a screen protector on there, you can use it, but if you want to use the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, it will not work. And this is probably going to ring true for a lot of screen protectors out there. So be very, very careful if you buy a screen protector for the Galaxy S10. Well, I got an email after I made that video from White Dome. If you don't know who White Dome is, basically they come out with a screen protector that basically totally like melts into the screen. I kind of talked about it yesterday, and it covers the screen, protects it, and that way you get a screen protector on there. It looks like in their email that they sent me, they go on to say that since S10 series has the ultrasonic fingerprint technology, Dome Glass is the only one glass screen protector that can work with the S10 series with high touch sensitivity. They go on to say just to visit the website at whitestonedome.com to get more information. Now, this is pretty cool, especially if you're into screen protectors. I am not so much. I pretty much trust myself at this point from dropping my phone and cracking the screen. And plus, the screens are seemingly a lot tougher than they were in the previous generations of Galaxy phones. But regardless, this is great news if you're into screen protectors, one that could possibly work with the ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. And the last story of the day is another real life photo, or supposedly a real life photo, of the Galaxy S10 Plus. Now here is the shot that was gathered from a Reddit post, and you can see the double camera on the top right, all screen display, very small bezels at the top and at the bottom. The phone looks really large in the guy's hand, but it is supposed to be an S10 Plus prototype of what the phone is going to be. Some interesting things that are missing from here. So it looks like there should have been some kind of watermark on the phone showing the employee and device ID on the screen, which was disabled, which I guess from this post is extremely difficult to turn off, but I guess the guy did it. Other than that, I will link the Reddit post down below. The guy kind of does an AMA, which is Ask Me Anything, about the device, and you can look through it. But this is supposed to be the real life Galaxy S10 Plus in hand. Let's get into the news. The first story of the day is about Verizon, and come this March, aka about 1 or 2 months from now, they are going to be rolling out robocall and spam protection for when you get texts and calls. You'll know if it's spam or not. That way you don't have to answer it or respond back. Now, a lot of this stuff is already built into some apps in terms of, like, I have a Galaxy Note 9, that's my main phone, and when I get a call, it'll look through the database of spam calls and tell me if it's spam or not. Same thing with my Android messages now, that has built-in spam protection, letting me know if that text could possibly be a spam as well. But when they do it on the carrier level, it's just either another layer of protection or just a first layer of protection if you don't have these features built into some of the apps that you already use. So good on Verizon. T-Mobile announced something similar very recently as well. And then you can also probably expect, because just the way the industry works here in America, especially with the carriers, that AT&T and Sprint will do exactly the same. Next up, if you use Google Maps, which I think a lot of people do, they are rolling out speed limit notifications right on the screen to let you know what the speed limit is on that specific road, which this kind of surprises me. I could have swore that they had this. Maybe they didn't. I know it's been in other GPS apps, but I guess it's just rolling out right now to Google Maps. I haven't noticed it because I don't use Google Maps every day, but definitely it'll look like these screenshots that we've seen a little bit right here at the bottom left, where you can see the speed limit, letting you know if you're okay to be driving that speed limit or not, or if you're over it or under it or whatever it may be. This is great. Hopefully it has some kind of alert to let you know if you're going a little bit too fast, where you might get a ticket or not. That would be another cool thing built into this. I can't wait to try it. And the last story of the day is pretty big, and it's coming from the Bell over in Korea. And they're saying that Samsung is going to take this Unpacked event, Unpacked 2019, which is February 20th, of which I will be at, definitely will be at. Already got my plane ticket and my hotel. And regardless to that, they're saying that the Galaxy S10, which we are pretty much, 99.999% sure that phone's going to be launched at this event, but also alongside it is going to be the Samsung Galaxy X, or whatever they call it, their foldable phone. So it looks like they're gonna launch both phones on the very same day. I couldn't ask for anything better. And the reason being is, one, they want to be the first to release a foldable phone, or at least announce it from a major company before MWC, which MWC is later on in February, which Samsung going to end up being the first company, big company, to put one out. And then the other part of this is that they just want to not take away from the Galaxy S10, or because Galaxy S10 is a huge phone, S10 might take away from the foldable phone if they do a foldable phone launch later, a few weeks later or a month later or whatever, or vice versa. So you're looking at both of these phones being launched on February 20th. As for release dates, the release date on the foldable phone is still probably going to be in the June-May timeframe, I would assume. And then the Galaxy S10 line of phones should be out March 8th. That's at least the rumor, is that it's going to be released on March 8th. And then their 5G version of the S10 will be released, I believe it was March 29th. So timeframes for these phones are coming out very, very quickly. But anyways, guys, we have one story today, and it is huge. It is big, and by huge and big, I mean tons of RAM and an extraordinary amount of storage. This is about the Galaxy S10 Plus, like the ultimate version of the S10 Plus. And this information comes from Ice Universe, who has a great track record in terms of leaks and rumors about Samsung phones. And his tweet says, the Galaxy S10 Plus, 12 gigabytes of RAM. Now think of this, the Galaxy Note 9 has 8 gigabytes of RAM. This has 12 gigabytes of RAM, so 4 more gigabytes than that, and 1 terabyte of storage. Again, the Galaxy Note 9, 512 gigabytes of storage. You can get up to a terabyte, but you have to purchase a micro SD card. So this Galaxy S10 Plus, 12 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage internally, will have a ceramic back cover. The back of the cover on the Galaxy Note 9 is glass. This is going to be ceramic. So it's going to be, as you can see in the next sentence, this ceramic has a special process that is not only scratch resistant, but also resistant to falling. And what I think he means by that is that either one of two things. Either you drop it on the floor and it won't break, or it's going to not slip out of your hand. Like the resistance to falling out of your hand is going to be very good. It's going to be very grippy. Also, he says, but the weight will increase. Not a big deal if it's basically indestructible and has tons of RAM and tons of storage. I'm all in. This is also the most advanced version of the S10 Plus. There is a metallic luster. Now, when we look through some of these comments, he did respond to one of the people saying if it was going to come in black and white, and Ice Universe said it would come in black only. So it sounds like it's only going to be in black. So some takeaways from this. How much is going to cost? When you think about 12 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of storage, with the Galaxy Note 9, you get 8 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigs of storage, and that's $1,250. I would have to guess. A lot of people keep saying $2,000. I don't think it's going to be that expensive. I think it will be $1,500 if I had to guess. Obviously, this isn't really out there yet in terms of what it's going to cost. There has been some rumors about prices, but I would guess it's going to be $1,500 to maybe $1,750, somewhere in that range. I don't think it's going to be as low as $1,200. I think it'll be in that $1,500, $1,600, $1,700 price range. At that, it's pretty crazy expensive, but it's a super luxury device. Other than that, you're looking at something that's going to be extremely, extremely powerful. They've never had a phone with this much RAM, just like they didn't with the Note 9. They didn't have an 8 gigabyte flagship phone either. This is also going to have a Snapdragon 855 in it and the newest Exynos if you live somewhere else in the part of the world. And the performance with the 855 is out of this world so far. You're seeing huge gains over last year's processor. So overall, S10 Plus looking like the phone that I definitely want to pick up. And it sucks because I don't want to spend that much, but Samsung phones need a lot of RAM. They do a lot of things, and giving them a lot of RAM is going to be fantastic, especially 12 gigabytes. I don't need 1 terabyte of storage. I'll be honest with you that. If I can get 12 gigabytes of RAM with something with less storage, I'll definitely go that route most likely. But regardless, this is a beast of a device in terms of what it's going to have thus far. 3 cameras on the back, 2 on the front, a nice 6.44 inch quad HD display. It's just looking crazy. Stereo speakers, headphone jack. What else more could you ask for, guys? Let's get into the news. In the latest teardown from XDA developers of the Samsung Pay app, there's information in there showing that there is going to be an in-display fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy S10. Now, this isn't anything terribly new because that's the rumors that it's going to have an in-display fingerprint sensor anyway, but you can look right here in the coding. It says enlarge bottom layout for Beyond, which is the Galaxy S10, in-display FP, meaning fingerprint scanner. And that means obviously that there's going to be a fingerprint scanner in the display when you use Samsung Pay, meaning there's going to be an in-display fingerprint sensor. Again, nothing crazy new, but it's just more confirmation, more information to this to be inside of the phone. Now, as for the lower edition, the light version or the E version, that's probably going to have a side-mounted fingerprint, or might still have an in-display fingerprint, or it might be somewhere else. And then also the S10 Plus also will definitely have the in-display fingerprint sensor most likely. Next up are some renders of the Galaxy S10 line of phones inside of cases. Enjoy it with some music. And the last story of the day is a benchmark, again, of Galaxy S10, the regular one, the one in the middle. Now, we'll talk about the light version first. That, when it was benchmarked, had 6 gigabytes of RAM. This one also has 6 gigabytes of RAM. It's probably going to be the base version. I would assume they're going to have, 2 versions of that, meaning that it would go up to 8 gigabytes of RAM and definitely more storage as well. This one's showing 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. You're probably looking at maybe 8 and 512 or 800, 256 gigabytes, but I would definitely assume that the middle version will have up to 8 gigabytes of RAM. And then obviously what we talked about yesterday, the S10 Plus, the mega version should have 1 terabyte of storage and 12 gigabytes of RAM. Guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. New videos every single day. My question out to you guys is, would you even consider buying a Galaxy phone at this point for the ones that are coming out this year in 2019 with only 6 gigabytes of RAM? Do you think it's sufficient? Let me know in the comments down below. I actually don't. I think at this point you do need 8. Having 8 on my Note 9, definitely I can feel a difference when I go back to somebody who has an S9 Plus and has a 6 gigabyte. To me, I don't know, it just feels a little bit snappier on the Note 9. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you down the road. Peace!